Next up, we're going to have Jeremy Van Winkle, and then, and so he's going to talk a little bit about his story and what he's got going on to help change and save lives, and I think what he's got is really great. So, Jeremy, come on up.
All right. Let's move a little bit. Everybody stand up, get some energy flowing in this room. Okay. All right, y'all can sit back down. You'll move a little bit. Gotta get that energy moving. All right. So for the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and what we're doing. There's going to be some dark times in it. There's going to be some positivity, and we're going to end on a good note. How's that sound? Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
All right. So, TUFR. I'm going to start out in my story here for a second. I'm going to bring you to a place in my life that I've recently started sharing and letting others experience. But if you'll be patient with me, we'll get there. Van Winkle, welcome to your home, the prison guard said as he led me into the prison cell. But it was the slamming of the jail cell door that brought me back to reality. Tears began flowing down my face, and I was trying to make my way between all the other inmates to get to that cell phone, or the phone on the wall. The weight of not knowing if I would ever get to embrace my wife and my son again was absolutely crushing. You see, I was a meth addict. I was a heroin addict. I'd become a felon. My life was completely upside down, and I didn't know where to go. Life moved on. I got out, started trying to fix my life, but didn't know how. Got out of prison, jail, went straight back into drugs. And there came a moment in my life. It was about Christmas time in 2017. And my wife said, Jeremy, if you do not change, me and your son are leaving. And I told many people. I told them I'd quit drugs 100 times. But it had its holds on me like I'd never seen or experienced. From suicide attempts to ungodly thoughts that I don't even want to share with you today. But there came a point in my life, and there was that ultimate choice I had to make. It was a tough decision. But I knew where I wanted to go at an early age. And I'm so thankful for my wife that she made me have this choice. So on January 8th, 2018, I walked into a church house, pockets full of drugs. I had paraphernalia in my back pockets. And I walked up in the middle of a service, people everywhere doing their thing. And I walked straight to the front. I took it all out of my pockets, and I laid it on the altar, and I quit cold turkey. And the next 2 weeks, thank you. The next 2 weeks, obviously, I lived in hell. But in my mind, I knew where I was going. And in those moments, I never realized that over the next 4.5 years, the accomplishments I would make, the changing of my life, the rebuilding, the recreation that God allowed me to have, I'm forever thankful to Him. But today I want to share you about where we're going. And so I named my company TUFR. And it's a multifaceted branding name. Part of it stands for Tighten Up Facial Recognition, because that's what we do. But it's the TUFR movement that we're creating, because we're going to bring awareness to mental health, drug addiction, and suicide prevention. And the way we're going to do that is through this tech. So earlier this year, I patented facial recognition security for power sports equipment, automobiles, and we have an app that works with it. We use the biometrics of your own cell phone that you walk with every day, and it unlocks your car. We are bringing in a insurance and finance market under all-in-one roof, because the global insurtech market, the CAGR is 48.9% by 2027. So we know that we can de-risk the insurance companies, we can de-risk the finance companies, and we can protect the end consumer with our tech. The reason I created TUFR is not only to create that movement and tell my story and help others, but I wanted to give back to society. Because I used to prey on people like you. I would go spot out their cars, I'd spot out their power sports, I'd spot out their equipment, and we'd go steal it to sell it for more drugs. So as I started thinking about this and coming up with this concept, get it to work here, we created this to protect people from the man that I used to be. And so we created the app to make it easy to use, because we all know creating another step into something is hard to do, because we're used to just going through life and our normal steps. So we wanted to make it simple, something we already have, and that's our cell phone. And most people are never going to leave anywhere without it. And when you do, you're like, oh, where's my phone? But most people are likely to take is someone you know, hometowns, family. So security keeps an honest person honest. But where we're going with this is one of the most dangerous places, as we all know, is our roadways. So with our tech, we're moving into, and we'll get a little bit here some more, but to answer this question right here, we are planning and in the current R&D phase of ending texting while driving. And the way we're doing that is with our tech. It's in hardware wired into the vehicle. It uses your cell phone. And through the accelerometer and the motion of axis and the change of axis, it understands that your car is in motion. And by knowing that your phone is the one that allowed the vehicle to start, it's going to lock out your phone while you drive. I know you're probably thinking you all hate me right now. I got to answer my business calls while I'm driving. But it's the safety of our children and generations to come. TUFR Tech removes risk for lenders and insurance. It also creates those hard memories. Has anybody ever been the victim of theft? We know, especially, I mean, it's inconvenient. Now you got to start filing claims if the value was enough. It creates hard memories. It doesn't allow us to trust people. We're always on guard anymore. So where we come up with the idea to prevent texting and driving is some of the greatest fatalities is evolved around semis and 18-wheelers. And so there are huge lawsuits that are constant. I'm from the state of Louisiana. Every billboard in our city is attorneys asking if you've been involved in an 18-wheeler wreck. So if we're locking out the driver's cell phone while they're driving, we're, again, de-risking the insurance companies, the finance companies, and bringing safety to our families. I'm going to skip that right there because I'm not here to ask for your money, but if I showed it to you, you'd all start throwing checks at me. So, this man right here, James Palmer, when I come up with this idea, and I didn't know what to do. You know, I knew it was great. I didn't know how to get to the next step. And so I brought my concept to James, and I told him my story. I told him where I come from, what I've accomplished, and James believed in me. And I didn't have the money to pay for this, because believe me, it's expensive. And I gave James a percentage of our company, and he turned all of the R&D in the beginning into a convertible note. And so I put him on here because I'm real thankful for him and what he's done for us. But he's currently, right now, we have this completed. We're on shelves now with product number 1. It's called TUFR Stealth. It is only facial recognition. But TUFR Incognito is coming up. And it's going to include GPS, accelerometer, a SIM card, and backup battery. And it's designed to look OEM so that thieves don't know it's there. And when we do this adding this accelerometer, we're going to be able to incorporate our real desires to create safety on the roads and protect our families. So, what do we have under one roof? We have our tech that we're currently patent pending on, and we have 3 more patents that are currently in the process of being filed. We're TUFR insured, new used equipment, vehicles, automobiles. TUFR Financed, where we're going to offer dealer financing through brokerages. And TUFR Backed on the equipment side, offering buyback incentives that have the TUFR tech installed. Again, don't look at those numbers because you'll start throwing checks at me. But Mr. William Anthony, when I initially told my idea to him, he's right over there actually, he owns Scale Right. And I'm thankful for him, because when you're in the process of building something, obviously everybody wants to build something great. And he started putting the numbers behind it. And when I saw those numbers, he made me a believer. I had an idea, but man, he got excited. So thank you, Anthony, for William, for all the work you've done. So I'm sure a lot of you know this crazy guy, Mr. Aaron Peterson. He is an extremely genuine person. He gives his all, and I'm so thankful for him. I wish he could be here today. But we have teamed up. We're attacking a lot of these right here. This is our top 25 list who we're going after currently. So the video popped over that. But here's a number of this 48.9% CAGR, what we're going to be adding to it. To the off-road market, 588,000 units a year. The trucks, agricultural, and the automotive is that huge number of 17 million drivers in America that we can install our product on. We can increase safety, we can de-risk the insurance and finance companies, and protect our end consumers from theft. Here's our current leadership team. You may recognize some of these names. Again, James Palmer, he is over R&D. William Anthony, Aaron Peterson, Kevin Dunn, E.R. Corin. He owns Automotive Addiction here in Utah, and we're using his influence in the automotive industry, supercars, and influencers. And he is the one that pushed me right here to go straight into the automotive industry. So in the beginning, I said I wanted to go straight from power sports because that's the number one thing I stole. And I wanted to protect the people from people like me, and that would allow me to gain market authority and brand awareness. But he said, dude, you're ready. Move it. Let's go. So here we are. Phil Lyman, he's an outdoor advocate. He was pardoned by Trump. He is currently sitting on our board. And Michelle Sealer Tucker, who wrote the book Exit Rich. And so I'm bringing in board members that I need help in each department that we're going after. And I want to use their experience and their connections to help us hit our goals. Our Dream Board of Advisors, you may recognize some names here. But this guy right here, I'm sure y'all all have heard of him. His name's Johnny Hanna. He is the CEO of Homey. And he is the one that is pushing me for the insurance and finance all under one roof. And we have our letter pending. I'm not going to say he's on our board yet because he ain't signed, but I do have a verbal agreement. So, before you pull out your phones and start trying to connect with me and send me money, I want to bring us back just for a second and remind you of what my story was. And we started calling this our TUFR story. Because at that moment in my life, I had to choose. And I chose the hard thing. Whether you live, I heard this saying once, whatever you choose, if you choose to grow or you choose to stay the same, both are going to be hard. You're just choosing your heart. And so we started calling it our TUFR story. And I began to realize that I connected with so many people because each of you in this room have a TUFR story. And so I like to liken this to a parable in the Bible. And the Bible reads it like this, and most people believe it to be two people, two stories. But it was a man who built his house on the sand. The rains came, the wind blew, his house was gone. And a man built his house on the rock, and it prevailed. But see, I believe it was one man and one story and two different houses. Because at first, he went out, he built his house on the sand, and he failed. But he had to recollect himself and figure it out and choose to build again. And he built his house on the rock the second time, and he prevailed. So I want a little participation right here for a second. If everyone could close your eyes. You could think about that one moment in your life where your TUFR story made that transition, where it happened. You were faced with adversity. You're thinking about right now. You can see it. You can feel those feelings that, because it's so real in each one of your lives. But you chose to do it. That's why you're here. You chose to be great. You believed it. You saw it. You moved on. You grew. Now open your eyes right now. Smile. I mean, really smile. Because you're a success, because you're right here, right now. You chose to be tougher. Because I believe there's freedom for the addicted. I believe there's peace for the suicidal. And I believe there's life for everyone. And I believe in you. Thank you.
Yeah.